Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to put together a Christmas wish list for that tech enthusiast in your life. Somebody that loves technology, maybe somebody that's specific to cybersecurity, somebody that has any interest in the tech field. I'm going to do a pretty broad stroke. I'm going to start with items that are pretty general for pretty much anyone in technology. Even people outside of technology will like some of these things because they are good for everyday uses. I'm going to move into more specialized things, projects, stuff for makers, stuff for cybersecurity guys, tools, all sorts of things. So if you would give this video a thumbs up, I'm going to put a lot of work into this. I want to do a pretty in-depth video. I see lots of people put out, short 10-minute videos with maybe 10 items, something like that. I want to do a little more, give a bigger, broader selection of items. That way, after you do a little bit of digging with that person you're shopping for, you can more target what they may enjoy, what they may like, based off what they may already have or what they've used. So let's get to it. We're going to move straight into some of the general items I have, and then like I said, we'll get a little more specialized as we go through. Okay, for some of the more general items that I think just about anybody can get some use out of, some of them are a little more on the techie side, like, a dock or a travel router. But just about anybody can use a battery or a gallium nitride charger. So these are a couple of the things that I have that I highly suggest. I may throw a couple more batteries, another dock or two, and maybe one or two more travel routers. This is mine. This is the one I know, so I can't really say much about the other ones. But let's talk a little bit real quick about each of these. So let's start with batteries. So I have 3 batteries that I use almost daily. My Anchor doesn't get a whole lot use anymore because it's not very big. It is only 10,000 milliamp hour batteries, but there are still certain things that work real well with it. It's fast charging in. It is IQ out. It pretty decently fast charging, but this Charge Energy Planet by Move Speed is 130 watt, 225,000 milliamp hour fast charging battery. I use this one almost daily because it's so small. I just throw it in my backpack. If you've seen my Signal Sleuth on my backpack, this is what powers it. This is just a run-of-the-mill cheap battery that it works. I haven't had any issues with it. I don't think there were any major anything bad I ever saw in the reviews, but it works great. Anchor products are usually great. I've moved away from Anchor and gone more to this U-Green, but I don't have any of their batteries. And then here's Sarge. Sarge. I suggest these guys. This is a great battery pack. I use it all the time. It's 170 watt max with 86.4 watt hour battery. It will charge and last forever. I basically charge it every couple of weeks and use it to charge my phone throughout the week, to power my different devices. It does have some USB-C charging, it has some USB-A. They have multiple versions of their big battery pack. They have ones that back up to your iPhone on the MagSafe. All sorts of things. I would say anything from Sarge would be a great gift. So that's it for batteries. Let's look at chargers. So these are both gallium nitride chargers. I have a 65 watt and a 100 watt. The thing I like about these most is for my laptops, for any of my devices, especially with power delivery, these will charge them. They'll charge them fast. They'll do standard slow charging if that's what you have, and they work great. I carry around multiple different laptops, any of them that take power USB-C charging. Most of them just require the 65 watt. I do have a few devices that can take advantage of the 100 watt, so that's why I upgraded to it. But even the 65 watt, this goes great with my portable soldering station that I have posted reels and some pictures of, because the TS101 and I believe the Pinesol can both be powered off a 65 watt power delivery charger. So yeah, these are Ugreen. Like I said, I highly suggest them. Again, links will be in the description for these. Great batteries. Chargers. Next is a dock. It is nice to have a dock that just goes in your backpack. This one stays in my backpack. It has a couple of the wires that you need. I always have display cables with me, Ethernet cables, all that other stuff. I believe this is a 12-in-1 dock. It will charge. It does have, I think it's 100 watt in. I don't see the wattage on here. I believe this is 100 watt in. But again, I'll have this linked in the description. This is one I really like. There's some more that are more specific to the different handhelds, which we'll actually get to one of those in a little bit, that are great. But yeah, any sort of dock, I'll have a couple of them in there. I have a couple that are on my wish list as it is, but this is one specifically that I use quite often. And the final thing in this category that I want to speak to real quick is a travel router. If you travel any amount of time, it's good to have a travel router just to kind of protect your devices. You can have this set up to VPN home, so that it's like you're always on your network. You just basically put all your devices behind another firewall that, like, the hotel can't see. You can set it up completely wireless where your device is connected to this connects to hotel Wi-Fi. I have used this on different cruises we've gone on, made it to where I carry this in my backpack and my phone connects to it as I'm walking around on the cruise, so I don't have to worry about constantly disconnecting and reconnecting devices. I just use this. It's great for that, and I hope to do a video on that before too long. But yeah, the Geneal Items, this is a very well-known company. Lots of people love these travel routers. I definitely suggest watching some videos on these if you do travel a lot, see how they work. But yeah, this would be a great gift for the traveler in your life. For the tech or security enthusiast in life, they'll get plenty of use out of this. Let's move on to more tool selections. Okay, for tool selection, it's going to be kind of one of those things you've got to get to know who you're buying for. Talk to them a little bit, figure out what tools they have, kind of, you can sneak it out of them. See what they may be interested in, what may work for them. And really, there are some tools out here in this pile that would be good if they don't have it. Even if they have, like a screwdriver. I would say even if they have a screwdriver, the screwdrivers by Linus Tech Tips or LTT store are great. The way they do their bit storage in the handles, the way that you can fidget with them, the clickiness, how little bit of back pressure it takes to advance the ratchet is great. And I can easily tighten screws one-handed with these because of the ratchet. Great screwdrivers. You can see reviews all over YouTube of people who love these. I would like to get their precision screwdriver kit as well, but I'm waiting for the full kit to come back into stock. But even then, even though I like Linus's precision screwdriver, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the iFixit screwdriver. It's kind of fidgety, it's metal, it works. The thing I don't like is it doesn't have bit storage. I would like to have the LTT one mainly for the bit storage, but everything else, every other reason, there is no reason not to get the iFixit toolkit. They have many different sizes. This is the specific one I have. I actually have the Pro toolkit that not only came with all of the bits, the flex arm, the driver, it also comes with everything for like repairing screens and stuff. I'm missing the suction cup and there's been some revisions to it, so it might be slightly different than this now. But this is another great toolkit addition. It is a little more specialized, but if they're doing anything with like small electronics, computers, stuff like that, this is probably something that'll come handy. Models, drones, any of those. The next thing would be a pocket tool, a knife, just a multi-tool. So I do have this Gerber center drive. It turns into a screwdriver, and it offsets the screwdriver so that it's in the center of the tool when it's fully collapsed. So it's a little more ergonomic when you're screw driving. And it comes with a handful of bits. Great little driver. I don't know that I'd definitely completely recommend this, but there are a ton of good selections out there. I've never had any reason not to recommend this one. It's good. I like it. The next is utility knives. There are a ton of utility knives out there. If you want to get like the perfect one, you can go look at all the reviews. This one happens to be a jerry rig everything knife. It's great. It's all metal, green anodized. Green's my color. And then the Gerber dime. I don't think this one is. I think it has a blade. Yeah, it's got a blade. But they do have TSA approved Gerber dimes as well. Great little bitty multi-tool to keep around. And then if the maker in your life doesn't have a good set of wire strippers, these Klein wire strippers have been by far my favorite wire strippers. I've had a handful of different types of wire strippers, but these have been the best. And this is just the tip of what all you could get tools for that person in your life. You have, many small files, I guess they're called jeweler's files, and more specialized tools like a deburring tool. If you know somebody that does a lot of 3D printing that doesn't happen to have one of those. Flush cutters, I'm always happy to get a new pair of flush cutters because I tend to cut things I shouldn't with them. Tweezers of all sorts, again, it's another commodity. I end up squeezing them too tight, bending them, using them to pry something. Sometimes we just tend to not use tools in their proper way. But I think that's all I'm going to cover on tools. Let's move on to 3D printing, since it's what I just mentioned. Okay, for 3D printing, some things you can get if they have bamboo, or even if they don't, they probably still find good things to print with these little kits. There are a lot of different little kits that you can get from Bamboo Labs. You have the build your own mouse. Basically, it's just all the parts that you put inside the mouse. You print the shell. A wireless charging kit. The file that they have for this is an A1 mini, but I'm sure there's plenty out there. And you have a piano music box kit. Those are simple kits that you can get that are great for anyone that 3D prints in your life. Another thing that any 3D printer will love and can never have enough of is filament. If just prod and poke a little bit, see if there's specific brands or colors or PLA, ASA, ABS. Just ask a couple of prodding questions about what that person that you're trying to buy for prints, and you'll easily find the kind of filament they want. We tend to easily move on to and talk about what we like. Many of us have opinions on what the best filament is. I don't necessarily think Sunlu filament's the best, but it's cheap and I've never had an issue with it. So therefore, it checks all the boxes for me. This one just happens to be purple. I print most in black and green, but the person you're buying for may have specific colors they print for, or specific colors that they wish they had, or are waiting to get for certain projects. So just, prod a little bit, ask some questions, and you can find out what filament to get them. If you are trying to buy for somebody special enough that you're willing to get a full printer, I do highly recommend Bamboo printers. They are so easy to learn. Most of them are, all of them are very user-friendly. Support's usually pretty good. I have heard some issues with support being slow and stuff like that, but again, I have a P1S and an X1 Carbon, two of their higher end machines, but I've never had issues. I know a bunch of people that have A1 minis and A1s, and they absolutely love them. The A1 is a great starter printer. The A1 mini is a great starter printer, and both can be had for relatively cheap compared to many printers out there, especially compared to how much work you may put into another printer instead of printing. So yeah, that is a good list for printing. Again, just a reminder, I will have links to all this down in the description. Amazon links are affiliate. Everything else is just a link to that website. Alright, the next batch of items I want to talk about is microcontrollers, projects, learning kits, starter kits, IoT starter kit, all of that. And this is just a small batch of what I have. There is so much more you can get to expand on it, but I thought these were some good items, things that people might like. Let's start with the cheap yellow display. So I'll pull one of these out of their case. This is an ESP32 with a touchscreen on it. It's got a spot for a micro SD card, plenty of inputs. This one is specifically USB-C. They have one that's USB micro, one that's USB-C and USB micro. There are multiple versions of this cheap yellow display. They can be loaded with all sorts of things. They can be programmed however you would like them to. You have the Ghost ESP, which I've done a reel on. You have Marauder, which is very famous in the cybersecurity community, and all sorts of other things. I'm planning to write some code for this as just a way to learn to write some code. But yeah, the cheap yellow display, again, there are multiple versions of them. I have 3 different versions, only 2 shown here. Another project I plan to do is I plan to use one of these as the touch screen for my P1S so that I don't have to use the P1S screen because I don't like how limited it is in its functionality. Next, these 2 I have in here just to talk a little bit about Pimoroni. This is their Jumbo, the Pico Jumbo, which is their new Pico 2, just a jumbo PCB of it. I don't know if this is, I believe this is still available, but if not, they have all sorts of Pico 2 project boards. But this one came with like alligator clips to clip onto these giant GPIO out and giant LEDs and stuff. Just hilariously large. Great project. This is another Pimoroni board I have. Little macro pad. It's completely programmable to do whatever you want with it. A 4x4 MX mech key. It's got 3 layers of PCBs. One is just to hold the keys, the actual PCB that has all the electronics on it, and then just a backer board. It's USB-C. Great project. Pimoroni has some great stuff. There is another one that I recently got. Is a 3-watt Raspberry Pi amp. This is just another example of what Pimoroni has. Basically, it's a 3-watt amp for your Raspberry Pi so that you can add speakers to your Raspberry Pi. Next, I want to move from the Pimoroni stuff to this M5 stuff. So M5 Go, M5 Watch, M5 Stack is, I believe, the company name. Go check these guys out. They have all sorts of projects to get you started. I've had this for a little while. I just hadn't had time to get into it. But it's got the little M5 Stack core in it, development kit, all sorts of sensors, wires, extra stuff to build off of it. It can connect to Legos and stuff. The M5 Watch or Stick C, they have multiple versions of this. Any of them are good. Great little project. One real famous project for this that I know the maker of, he's great, Axon, great guy, is the Nemo project, to do like TV Be Gone, Sour Apple, BLE spams, stuff like that. It's great project, fun stuff. This particular kit even comes with a watch strap so that you can actually wear it as a watch. Again, great project. This is one of Adafruit's circuit rounds. I'm not sure. I think they're still making the circuit round. But this is Circuit Playground Express. It has all sorts of, this one mainly just has batteries and stuff. But I've seen a bunch of projects with this. Again, this is just another development board, development kit to learn. Then this Cogworks kit, I did a quick video on this just a little while back. This is just a Arduino board with a bunch of components, breadboard, everything, just to get you going, to get you started learning C++ or programming for Arduino's firmware and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think you have to get this Inventor IO kit. These Arduino kits can be had for cheap. There are many versions of them. Any of them are great to start with, great to learn. Even if that kit doesn't have specific instructions for it, you can find instructions all over the internet. You can go to Inventor IO, look at their instructions, and just follow along with them, even if you don't have their specific kit. You most likely have the proper components. Another little nice thing to get would be a nice breadboard kit. Oh, this isn't part of that. A breadboard kit with a power delivery to it. So I can power this through USB or through the barrel jack. And based on these jumpers, I can change it from 3 volt to 5 volt. This is just a little project I was working on. I'm missing a lot of the components from it because I tore them off for other things. But yeah, this is another great thing. Bigger breadboards. Breadboards, great for project development. And then we'll just look at some small microcontrollers development boards that you can use for learning these things. This is an ESP32S3, I believe. C3. This is a C3. A little A-tiny. What is it? I think A-tiny 88 or something like that. Again, just a little board. 8266s. Yeah, both of those are 8266s. This is an ESP32. It's a Seed Studio ESP32. This is an ESP32 with a round screen built into it. Very similar, to the yellow boards. This is a micro SD card holder, so you can add micro SD to it. Again, just any of these little project boards are great things to just start your projects. Great for makers. But these make me want to move on to single board computers, specifically Raspberry Pi, because that's what I have the most of. So let's clear this off and get my Raspberry Pi stuff over. Okay, so let's get into the Raspberry Pi stuff. Like I mentioned, this here is the Raspberry Pi 5. It's their newest single board computer. This one's specifically the 8 gig version. This is a good, readily available. Pi was at a shortage for a while, but every time I've been to Micro Center in the past year, there has been no issue getting any of the Pis that they stock. Raspberry Pi 5 is the newest, greatest, good one to start with, and the one most likely that maker in your life doesn't have. I don't have much for a Raspberry Pi 5. Raspberry Pi 4 is still a great selection. This is a 4 in a metal case. If you know they have Raspberry Pis with no cases, getting them cases is a great option. I'll have all sorts of selections of these in my description. Most Amazon, so there will be affiliate links. This here is actually, don't have a Raspberry Pi in it, but it is a touchscreen module for a Pi 4. I believe it'll work with a 5 as well. It may work with olders. A lot of these are cross-compatible. You just have to kind of look into them. The case isn't, but the touchscreen would be. But the case would be 4 only. And then these, the Pi Sugar, this specific one is for like the 4, and basically just adds a battery to your Pi. So again, great little add-on. And these are what I would be most excited for, just because it's more of a current project that's being worked on, also a long-running project that people are actually starting to, seems like, revive again. So this is the Pi 02. This is the Zero I always buy now. I have a couple of regular Zero Ws, but I also have 2 or 3 02s. I believe this is just a 0W. But there are 2 projects that I think are a great option for Christmas presents, and that would be the Ponagachi. This one's dead currently. Battery's not charged. This is another Pi Sugar specifically for the Zeros. Then in the middle, between the Pi Sugar and the screen, I have a Pi 0. And then you have these WaveShare e-ink displays, which is the same thing right here. This is a version 4, this is a version 3. Many projects can use both of these. But again, the 2 projects I'm looking at are the Ponagachi, which uses this, and the Bjorn. I haven't done a Bjorn yet. I will be very soon. In fact, one of the videos shortly after this one will be putting together one, because it's a project I've been looking forward to. It seems like a really cool internal network testing, just to see where your vulnerabilities are. And both the Ponagachi and Bjorn use the e-ink display. The Ponagachi, some of the expanded versions of them can use other LCDs, OLEDs, LED, whatever. And I will actually probably build another Ponagachi using this screen, and I'll do a video on that one. So yeah, if you do buy a Raspberry Pi 02 and a screen together, intending for that person in your life to build it into one of these projects, do try to buy one with the headers already installed, or buy a set of headers for them, or maybe they already have them. But it's always nice to have them with the headers already installed. I actually prefer them without, because like with this one, I did a slim mod on it. Basically had to cut down headers, and it's a lot easier whenever it's not already installed to do that. So yeah, that's Raspberry Pi. That is a quick, easy go-to for any maker, cybersecurity enthusiast. There's always different projects out there using the Raspberry Pi. Let's get a little more cybersecurity focused now. Okay, to focus a little more on cybersecurity, there are all sorts of nice, fun little cybersecurity tools. Some that are actually useful, some that are great for learning, some that are both. Let's first look at what's in this bag, because it's the biggest. I'll just get it out of the way first. And that would be the Hack 5 Wi-Fi Pineapple Mark 7. This is a great little Wi-Fi device. A little expensive, a little outdated now. I'm really hoping they come out with a new version or something. I specifically got the tactical version that has a 5 gigahertz adapter. I also have USB GPS in here so that I can do war driving with it. So yeah, anything Hack 5 for the most part is going to be a good bet. Which, while we're at it, let's go ahead and talk about the USB rubber ducky. This has made it into multiple movies. It's now USB-C and USB-A. If you ever watch Mr. Robot, they use the rubber ducky. It's basically When you plug it into a computer, it acts as a keyboard, and we can input a whole set of code, pull files offline, download them, run them, everything. Great penetration testing tool. Let's move those two out of the way. I mentioned war driving, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little shameless plug here and now. If you do know somebody that enjoys war driving, I do sell the Signal Sleuth kits. It's another kit that would be great to learn to solder on. It's a fun kit to put together. I have the slim versions and the full fat version. The full fat holds 4 18650 batteries. You will have to provide the batteries, cases all to yourself. Well, whoever you buy this for will have to provide those, but the starting kit is great to get started with. It has everything needed to actually get going. You don't have to have a kit. I mean, you don't have to have cases. You don't have to have batteries. They're USB micros. You plug in and power them. It'll come with smaller antennas. But yeah, shameless plug. These are mine. I sell these. Great for anybody that likes to war drive. Next, let's move to a couple of other makers I know. I don't know, but I've talked to some of them and they're great. So the Marauder Mini, I actually have it out of its case because I burned this one up. It was completely my fault. Nothing on, just call me Coco. He has newer versions of the Marauder Mini, so I'm excited to try and get one of those before too long. They already have GPSs on them. This is the Marauder V6. Great. It's got an 18650 battery in it, so it's battery powered. I have done the GPS mod on this one. This is an older version before he added the GPSs to them by default. But I do have the GPS in this one. This SMA connector is for GPS. His stuff is great. I think you would still have time to get it for Christmas if you get anything he has in stock now, or maybe if he has an early December drop. Just go check out his pages. I'll have everything linked for him down in the description. Another fun project that there are many kind of versions of this. This is the Hackhell Vega 2. There's not many versions of this. I think there are a couple now. This is a great little fun project. You power it. It's basically the de-author. If you search de-author on Amazon, you'll find a handful of devices, watches, stuff like that, Wi-Fi de-authors. It does a lot more than that, though. This is from the maker that wrote the code, I believe. And it has an ESP8266 in it with USB-C. I believe he has a battery version now, which I do want to pick up, but this is a great start. Let's get a little more into SDR and signals and stuff like that. So this probably looks pretty familiar to you. I would check for sure if the person you're trying to buy for has a flipper. If they do, then pick up something like this, their Wi-Fi dev board, or one of the other many boards. I'm going to link a couple of guys down in the description that sell accessories for the Flipper Zero. It's going to be Rabbit Labs and AWOC. I don't personally own anything from them. I've talked to AWOC. He's a great guy. He's worked with Just Call Me Coco on some of this Marauder style stuff. He has his own Marauders that hardware that mount to the top of your Flipper Zero. All sorts of other boards, just like this Wi-Fi dev board, how it mounts to the top. All of his stuff is going to mount to the top as well. Great thing. The flippers, there's all sorts of things you can get for these things. So even if that person in your life already has a flipper, you can go to Etsy, get 3 different 3D printed cases. You can find more silicone socks colored. You can even get case replacements. I have a green set that I want to put on this that I haven't got around to. But yeah, anything flipper related is going to be good. SDR, this is more on the cheap end. This is just a receiver. It'll allow you to listen to different signals. You can listen to ham. If you don't have a license, you're not supposed to transmit on many frequencies anyway, but this allows you to kind of dip your toe in, start listening, start learning. The Hack RF with Porter Pack, the HM4, H4M, is the version I suggest getting. It's much newer than this. It just recently released, actually, and is going to be one of my next purchases. But the Hack RF is a great device. Even the Hack RF on its own as a standalone is a great device. It's an SDR. It'll listen to a large range of frequencies, and the Hack RF can also transmit. But again, there are legalities you need to look, check your laws, find out if or what you can transmit on. But this is a great all-around. This is like the much more powerful version of the Flipper Zero. It also takes more know-how, more knowledge, but this is a great project. If you know somebody in your life that's into lock sport, then they probably have all the lock picks they want. But if you know somebody that wants to get into them, let's first look at some lock picks. If you have somebody that you know wants to get into lock picking, a decent set of lock picks is a great way to start. I have two kits here. One was a kit put together at a local lockpick village, and the other I purchased. It was kind of specialized. I'll have to look back at my post to remember what all I purchased. But it's great kits to start out with. I will link a couple in the description. Mine are all Sparrow, which great company. Covert Instruments has some good lock picks. I'll have some options from both down in the description. These will not be affiliate. I have no affiliation with them. They're just ones I know many people use, and I trust the people who use them. And then obviously I have the Sparrow one that I'll put in the description as well. So if they're just getting into it, a lockpick kit will be great. Another nice thing to have is some practice locks. So we'll first look at these lock sets I have from Sparrow. This is just a cutaway lock, so you can kind of see how the action is working. It works. You have the key, so you know it works. But then you can just also practice picking this lock. And then you can get a bunch of different pin sets to go with this lock. You can pin them to your own sets, whatever you want. It comes with, I can't remember the exact kit I got, but I will share it whenever I do go back and look. It comes with tweezers specifically for lockpick repinning tools. This is the key and pins that were originally in this practice lock. There's a bunch of different keys and level difficulties and stuff. Like, let's see. These all are pretty simple, but I know I do have some specialty pins, serrated and awkward shapes and chess looking pieces, spool pins, all that. So again, a great learning kit, not only to learn to pick, but to better learn how a lock works by repinning it yourself. I got these two pads with the kit I got as well, the repinning kit. So you can line up all your pins and springs here. Again, you can do the same thing here, your pins, springs, everything. Great kit just to learn more about your locks. But something even a little more on the even cheaper side of things that you can get for somebody that is into lock sport. If you know they already have a bunch of different stuff, you can go look up the lock picking belt levels, and if they're into that, they may have a belt already. It's not a physical belt, but it's an online belt. If you figure out where they're at, you can kind of guess on what locks they need next. And that may be a great present for them. Go get one of the locks in their next belt level that they can start learning to pick, practicing on. And even if they have picks or locks that they're already practicing on in that level, just getting another one is always good to have in your rotation, just for different difficulties. I have 2 of these American locks. One of these, I don't even remember, padlocks. So it's a specific padlock USA. And this little cheap Brinks. This was the first lock I picked to get a belt, and I think it actually got me, jumped me to the second belt. It's actually been a while since I've looked at these. But yeah, just getting locks is another great option for lock pickings. Alright, let's talk a little bit about gaming now. I mentioned in the beginning we would do a little bit about gaming, and a great way for somebody that grew up with Game Boys and stuff, something like this Mayu Mini is a great gift. They can be had for right around $100. I believe I got this one for right around $100. They may be a little more expensive now, it's been a while. But this one's rechargeable. They are customizable to a point. You can load all sorts of games on them. They are a great option. They are more powerful than just only playing Game Boy games. Let's see, I'll show you some of the games their consoles you can play. So there's some arcade, Game Boy Color, Game Gear, Atari, Game Boy, Genesis, NES, GBA, Neo Geo, Sega, PlayStation 1. Some different ports. These are going to be like Streets, Snake, Diablo, Duke. Doom's in here somewhere. But back to it, SNES, TG16, TGCD. That's all of them. But yeah, there is a lot of games to choose from. A lot of systems to choose from. There's some apps. You can do different themes. Settings, favorites. Onion OS isn't the original. I've kind of modified it. I found a theme, obviously black and green, my colors. Yeah, this is a great option for that gamer in your life. If they're not that into retro games, or they are, but they also like some more modern games, and this is someone that you're willing to spend some money on, the ROG Ally. The Ally, they have a brand new version out that's black. It's even more powerful, more RAM. It's all around better. It's a great option. But even, this is the ROG Ally Extreme, so it is the higher end of the first Allies that came out. It is a great option. I've played many games on it. I play even mouse and keyboard games on it. I'll hook it up to that dock I showed earlier, and then use mouse and keyboard to play Satisfactory. I play Satisfactory on it. I've played PC Builder Simulator. I've played a little bit of Cyberpunk, Witcher 3. It's a great handheld system. All sorts of fun games that you can play with it. If they already have one of these, this Skull & Co. carrying case is a perfect fit. It is by far, from all the reviews I saw, a great fit. I would also suggest D-Brand's case for it. That was actually what I wanted, but I got this before they released their cases. Some other things you can get if they already have an ROG, or I mean any of the handhelds, most of them are pretty well moddable. You can get a larger larger SSD. I have upgraded this one to 4 terabytes, so I have 4 terabyte SSD inside of this one, so I never run out of game space. I don't even bother with a micro SD card. These had an issue with them. I don't know if mine has issues with them or not. I have 4 terabyte SSD built in. There's no reason for me to use the micro SD card. Yeah, all sorts of accessories. Another kind of game focused item that I don't have, but I'll post a picture of some of the ones I like that I would actually like to have myself, and that would be a new controller. The 8BitDo, I believe is their name. I'll correct it on screen if it's not. They have a handful of controllers that I think would be great to have, to carry with me, to use with my ROG whenever I've played with it handheld. It works great handheld if you're on the go, but if you can dock it on a bigger TV and play with a remote, it's even better. So yeah, those are some great options for gaming. Okay, RC. Just about everybody I know that likes tech likes RC. Drones are crazy popular. Again, everybody that I know in tech likes drones. Many of them don't know how to fly, but there are options for that. So first, just a quick word on car or buggy or that kind of RC. Again, to me, it seems like it's not as sought after. If they're going to like RC cars, it's going to be more focused on them. But if you do buy an RC car for somebody, especially if they're into it, make sure you do your research. Look into the different, more professional brands, not that stuff you're going to get off the Walmart shelf. Look at like Team Lucy, Traxxas, stuff like that. Just watch a couple of videos. There's a ton of them out there. But drones, let's talk about drones first. And let's talk specifically about DJI first. One thing that's great about DJI is you can find many of their drones for pretty cheap. This is a Mavic Mini. It's pretty much the first Mini that ever came out. Sub 250 grams. Has 3 batteries. I guess I still have a battery in it. Yep. I still have a battery in it. This one had a battery charger. But anyway, what I'm getting at is you can get these now for relatively cheap because they're on the Mini 4 now. So you can get the Mavic Mini for $100. And it may not be super fancy as the 4 or the 3 or even the 2, but the 2 can be had for cheaper. I believe I have nothing against reusing drones. I have nothing against reusing electronics. That is always a great option, and I think this would be a great gift for anybody that wants to get started with drones, especially if they're more on the photography side. They want to do more camera stuff. Even though this is an older version, it is a good starting point to get them learning, to get them going. This is how I'm learning to fly these style drones. If you have somebody in your life that wants to get more into FPV drones that are freestyle or racing or anything, this is a drone I highly suggest. I started off with this drone here, which is a drone I built from ground up, and then on my first flight completely blew up one of the motors, like separated from the shaft, broken beyond repair. It is fixed now. I had to go in, remove all my motors, desolder them all because I couldn't find that matching motor anymore, and put a new set of motors on. That's a lot of work because I don't know how to fly. It cost me more money, and undid a lot of work I did. I don't want to crash. I probably will never fly this one again until I have mastered flying this other one that I'm going to show you. But if you have somebody in your life that wants to get started in drones, Darwin FPV, this is the baby ape. It is a great drone to start with. There are great kits to get to start with as well. You can get all sorts of ready-to-fly kits that have goggles and have drone, remotes, everything. A lot of those are going to be more of what they call tiny whoops, which I actually want to pick up one as well to learn to fly whenever I can't fly outside. But this baby ape here is a great, I think this is the Baby 8 Pro. It's $100, I think, is what this drone cost. Basically everything on it is easily replaceable. Each arm is easily replaceable, so even if you break an arm, destroy a motor, you can go on their website, get replacements, very easy. I believe these are 2S drones. I've flown this one now longer and better than I've flown the one I built. It's a great one to learn on, to move forward on. So that's the RC section. Okay, let's move on to soldering. There are a couple options. There are only 2 irons that I'm going to suggest that I personally own. One is this TS101. I absolutely love this thing. As I mentioned before, I use these power delivery gallium nitride chargers along with this to solder here at home while I'm out on the go. TS101 and the Pine Sol are both very good options for that. I don't personally own the Pine Sol. I do know people who do, who love it. I plan to pick up a Pine Sol because they're pretty cheap. So the TS101 or the Pine Sol are great iron options. I have this little bitty hot plate. I want to get a bigger one, but this is a good starting one. It's allowed me to do some little things. Like I designed these little carrier boards for BW16. I can solder directly onto them using hot plate. Again, just another cheap way to get into hot plates, learning how to reflow solder that way. Then before, I'll talk about this kit last, but first let's talk about some learn to solder kits. Learn to solder kits are all over the place. I'll put a couple in the suggestions. I don't know where I even got these 2, so these probably won't be in the suggestions. I think these are Christmas gifts I got a while back. One's a Christmas tree, and one's an IR light barrier. Again, just little learn to solder kits. Great way to learn to solder. This is another learn to solder kit I came up across. It's pretty cool. So these are photoresistors. They change their resistance based on light. So whenever light is in the path of one, you have motors on the front that vibrate and turn it. There are multiple versions of this, and if you could get a light on both of them, it'd kind of move it forward. I've seen all sorts of projects just like this. This one here, great little learn to solder project, real simple, little stuff in it. I don't even remember where I got that, but again, a great project. Again, a little selfless plug. For the next few weeks, I have around 100 of these. Actually, I think I have less than 100 of these on my store now. These are Christmas tree, learn to solder, ornaments, badges, whatever you want to call them. They're LEDs, a switch, battery pack. They change colors. They go through full RGB. Just slowly, the longer they go, the more mixed up the LEDs get. They don't all stay the same the whole time. This is a great first learn to solder kit. Got a little poem on here. Whenever you're soldering, you can create it. Instructions are simple on the back. There are a few more instructions to it that I will add. But yeah, these are on my store now. They should ship first week of December, so they should make it before Christmas for sure. I'm hoping to start shipping many of them this week. But yeah, they're there. I have pretty much all the parts. I'm just waiting for some LEDs and some packaging, and then they will all be going out. So again, shameless plug. Link down in the description. Get to my website. Buy a Christmas ornament. Great present. And final thing in this section, and which will lead us into the next section, is this Learn to Solder kit with hacker boxes. It has a programmer or power board, a little spinner, a little Learn to Solder spinner that'll light up as you spin it. It has an iron. I don't know how good this iron is, but I'm sure it's good enough to get started. It's an ESP 8266, I believe. Yep, ESP 8266. Little surface mount Learn to Solder board. Surface mount soldering is going to be the hardest with an iron. That's where a hot plate comes in. Very nice. Some solder. This is a through-hole Learn to Solder board. And then a Hacker Boxes badge kit. So yeah, some great, easy, simple projects to learn to solder with. This, like I said, is a great segue over into the Hacker Boxes portion of my Christmas wish list. So Hacker Boxes is a monthly subscription box. I actually have a box on its way to me now, but this is just an example. This is last month's box. It's got a little USB hub, 1 to 4 USB hub, a micro SD card reader, a Raspberry Pico 2040, an SD card, a badge, which you can easily make these Velcro back. Little components for the board, USB-C to A, some white tack, and a PCB. So that's what this one is. A couple of stickers and a collectible card for it that kind of talks about the Pico 2040, and then on that side is just a thought of the board. But this one specifically is basically, it emulates a old Apple computer once you have it all together. So that's just a small example of what can be done with it. This is the subscription side of it. Let's show you some of the things that I have built from being subscribed to it. This little computer here. Actually, I believe this was with my Hacker Box as well and came with this little computer. This was one of the projects. This is an AI camera laboratory project. This is the HackRF Boy. This is Hacker Box's another RF radio, all sorts of stuff. But Hacker Boxes doesn't only have the subscription boxes. As we just went over, we have this Learn to Solder kit. It's a great way to start soldering. Even if you're not sure you'll enjoy soldering, don't want to buy a dedicated, little higher dollar soldering iron where that soldering kit's going to be cheaper than this one iron, and it has an iron in it. That is a good way to go. They have these kits on there that have more patches. This is the Fox, little Fox you can build, or RF Fox, antennas, stickers, components, That is actually not part of this. That was from DEF CON. The Hackboy RF comes in this one, so I have another Hackboy RF kit, which I may actually give away. Stay tuned for that if I decide to. That's all the RF kit components. This is the components for the Fox. Make sure. Okay, yeah. Everything else is in here. Yeah, so they have a couple of kits like this. Again, I'll post pictures of some of the other kits they currently have on their website, and mainly just links to them so you can go see them yourselves. They have a couple that come in this little, from what I can tell, like a switch case. Just to quickly show some of the other hacker boxes stuff we have. We have this little robot board. I don't have any batteries in it currently, but you solder it all together. It goes through different programming you can do with it, power in it. And this giant ESP8266 was in one of the boxes. I do have batteries for this one. Where's my power switch? So there were different programs you could have to have it go through a different cycle. I believe this was the Fibonacci cycle or sequence or something. I don't know. I don't remember the name of it. These are all SAOs that have come in different badge kits. So let me get a couple of them on this little totem. Different badge kits, basically they just all light up. This is basically turn any SAO into a badge of its own. You turn it on and it's got lights around the outside of it, and then an SAO that fits on the middle. More SAOs, SAO. This is a standalone DEF CON 32 Engage badge. I can't remember if this came in my hacker box or if it was something I got from DEF CON, from somebody that sent me stuff from DEF CON. I think this came in the box though. And then the final kit I want to talk about, they don't have this one available anymore, but I think this is a good show of how good some of the kits can be. All of them have their value, whether it be you're going to use the parts for other projects or themselves is a good kit. This one is basically Guitar Hero. You strum using these two buttons, and then you have all your buttons. There are RGB lights under each of these, so you see them. There's RGB lights here, RGB lights here. Yeah, it's basically like having Guitar Hero again. This was a lot of fun, a really fun project. It came with a strap that works just like a guitar strap, and it was long enough to act like a guitar strap. So yeah, this is just one of their larger projects, something that they've done. Hacker Boxes is a giant suggestion of mine. Get somebody you love the subscription. Get them one of the previous boxes if you don't want to get them subscription. Get them one of the, the Learn to Soldering kit or one of the other things. This is a great Christmas present all around. Two more things to think about whenever you're talking about buying subscriptions or a service or something like that for, the hacker in your life, say. Try Hack Me and Hack the Box are great options. I will have a link to both of them, and the Hack the Box Academy specifically is what I'll link to, and it will be a little bit of an affiliate, kind of a more, join using my code, and I get some extra cubes to spend on Academy for myself so that I can do more on Academy. So yeah, Hack the Box Academy is something I love. I've enjoyed every bit of it. Their certificates are great. They are, from what I understand, are becoming more and more recognized great places to start your cybersecurity journey. And that is another Great option to get somebody who's trying to get into cybersecurity, someone who wants to learn to hack, to turn it into a profession, or just to know more about computers, to know more about Linux, Windows, the different vulnerabilities in them, how to become more secure. Hack the Box Academy is a great option. Try Hack Me is a good option as well. I used them for a little bit. I do prefer Hack the Box Academy and Hack the Box for capture the flags and stuff, but I will link both below. The Hack the Box Academy will be my refer a friend link. Alright, it's been a long video. I believe I've given you a ton of options. I'm going to go get started editing this. I hope I have helped you in finding a good present for that person in your life, that person you love, that friend of yours. A good present for that tech enthusiast, cybersecurity enthusiast, maker in your life, the gamer, whatever. I have covered a ton of items. I really hate how few items you see on many of these, but I hope I have given you a larger selection than many of the Christmas list videos out there. If you would, throw down suggestions, and for all the makers I know that are probably going to watch this as well, the hackers, and cybersecurity tech enthusiasts, if you have more suggestions that I missed, that I didn't cover, there are a lot of things that I want that I know I didn't think of while going through this that would have been great to put on. If you can think of something that I didn't put it down in the description. Any other ideas, if I got anything wrong or have better suggestions than what I suggested, throw them down in the description. Let's see what you have to say. I'd love to hear more items, more ideas for Christmas. Thanks for tuning in. If you would, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't. It really helps. I look forward to the next videos. I have a bunch of projects I want to work on. I want to get videos out there. I think I have the motivation to do it again. Let's get out there. Let's do it. We'll see you next time.